Hey folks, welcome to the show live tonight. This is the Intrepid radio program. This is Scotty Roberts, your host, and you are tuned in to my live stream on my YouTube channel. And for anybody watching this for any reason that is not picking it up via live YouTube stream tonight, catches it in archive, that is youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts. And I would like you to know that this show is still active and vital over at our network station, Odyssey Radio. That's ODYSY1.com. Go on over, check out all the goodness that is Odyssey Radio. And as they are doing tonight, because we're live streaming due to technical issues we have on this end, we are playing all kinds of archives from the 450 to 500 archived shows over at Odyssey Radio. So go over and listen. They play several times throughout the day in the lineup, and you can go just tune in, go check out the schedule, and check it out. And folks, tonight I have switched formats here because we had so much problem with the internet here. I am now broadcasting this from my phone. So we'll see the sound may be different. The camera might be different, but hopefully we won't have all the problems that we've had the last few nights. I got to see where the camera is. Camera's over there. Okay. So I'm looking at you instead of everywhere else. So I want to thank you all for being here. I see Field Guy is here. Money, I need some, he says. Hey, join the club, man. Hey, Steve Clark, howdy. Good to see you. Beth Kirkham, good to see you as well. So far, all is well. You know, it's one of those days. It's just one of those days where everything feels kind of blah today. Lots of work to do. Some of my work in my, as you all know, go to scottallenroberts.com. You're going to see all my work over there and the stuff I do. And then, of course, I'm here down in Louisiana in my makeshift studio, in my makeshift life. And so hopefully we won't have as many glitches tonight, if any at all. So, hey, Baroness, good to see you. Doug Stack, good to see you as well. You're in Walmart running down old ladies with your cart. Oh, that's nice. I saw a meme today that said something about, what is it, people who are business-oriented and intelligent thinkers, all of those kinds of things, are the people that don't leave their carts sitting in the Walmart parking lot or any other parking lot. That's one of my pet peeves. I know Sam has a big pet peeve with that. We pull up into a Walmart or a supermarket or wherever. Down here, it seems like rampant. Nobody believes they have to take their grocery cart and push it back to the cart corral, as they call it. They just leave them in parking spots. So we pull in, and there are several times we pull into a spot, and because you're at an angle and you pull in, you go, whoa, I can't park there unless I get out and move some dumbass's cart that they left there because they're either, one, too lazy to put their own cart away, walk it down 20 feet over to the cart corral. Ooh, there goes a minute and a half of their life. I think it's just laziness. It's inconsiderate. And I have a problem with that. Sometimes we'll get out at a grocery store, and Sam, before we even walk in, he'll start rounding up all the carts, and he pushes them back into the cart corral or back up by the door. And one time we pulled in just the other day, and we saw 13 carts all around within 5-6 parking spaces from where we were. So if you don't put your cart away, you're kind of a dumbass. If you leave it sitting in the, but that's my opinion. So you don't have to confess to it here on this show or on this chat room, but there you go. Hey, Iowa X, I saw you. What happened to the glitches? Just drives an old truck and ran the carts. There you go.
There's a special place in hell for people who don't put their carts away.
There you go. Sam said it best. A special place in hell for the people who don't put their carts away. And you know what? You're gonna have to live in a shopping cart in the halls of hell. So that reminds me of an old evangelist. When I was in college, you know, the traveling evangelist. Maybe you don't. If you didn't go to an evangelical church, maybe you never encountered them, but the traveling preachers, the evangelists, they would line up and they would travel to churches all around the country and have evangelistic meetings. And not mocking the, maybe I am a little bit, but I remember this one evangelist, I can't remember his name, old evangelist, and he had a favorite. I'd seen him at a couple of different churches over the years, and he had a sermon that he entitled The Halls of Hell. And he preached like this, and he'd say, "Walk with me, if you will, now down the halls of hell." That's exactly how he sounded. And he would take you down his little storybook version of the halls of hell and what it would be like. And of course, isn't the biblical concept that hell was created for the devil and his angels, at least according to New Testament? In the Old Testament, there wasn't a hell. There was Gehenna. There was Abraham's bosom, as they called it. And so it's interesting. We should do a study on hell one of these days. Sinners down in front. I mean, get down in front, or they're blocking the view. Louisiana is already in hell. So, well, field guy, you could always pack up and move to another state. There's some good places to go. Folks, where would you live if you could have a choice? My choice would not be Louisiana. Sorry to all you Louisiana heads out there. This is not my favorite place to be. And as I've mentioned, we might be moving the company in a couple of weeks to San Antonio, Texas. And so Sam and I would end up going down to San Antonio for a couple of months before we get to go home. And so we'll have to see what happens. I keep looking up there at the old camera, and the camera's down here now. So you'll have to forgive me for that. So we might end up in San Antonio, Texas. Field guy says, boo. Yeah, we haven't even met face to face yet, field guy. You're only 2 hours to the east of me over there in New Orleans. And so, folks, yeah, you're not seeing any glitches tonight, thank goodness. I hope I didn't drive too many people away over the last few days, because I have now started broadcasting from my phone. And thank goodness this StreamYard that I'm using, that field guy put me onto, it works from my telephone. So I have no idea how I sound. I can't hear any feedback. And I'll take a listen to it tonight. I don't have professional mics set up here. My studio is all back at my home in Wisconsin. Lovely state to live in, by the way. I have to lean in to look at the chat room, however. I'm offended you don't like my state, said Doug. Sorry, man. Let's see. You drove me away. I'm not watching anymore because of last night. There you go. I see that. Thank you. Now, by the way, if I missed anybody who is here, because I suppose I can scroll on this, but see what happens? My finger goes right up where the chat room is. So I'm just going to have to see them as they come in. And if you need anything, you need me to see something, type it in all caps or something so I can see you. And, and we may put this out there that if you want to join me, if you've got some questions, hold on. I got to put my finger right up in here. More broadcast info. No, that's not it. Let's see. Guests. Let's see. If I want to invite a guest, I can do this, and I can copy it. There we go. So here, I'm going to put this in the chat room right now, if I can. I don't see a space where I can type. So here, you know what I'll do? While I'm doing this, I'm just going to call it up over on my computer so I can, pardon me while I do this. This is going to bump me around just a little bit. There we go. All right. That's why we're at a different angle tonight, too, because we're in a different spot. Broadcasting from my phone. My phone's internet is better than the campground internet here. So let's see. Let me go over to the broadcast as it's playing right now. And I am going to wade through the ads. Yes, I am monetized over there. I'm going to tell you something. You know how much this show makes? We make about $100 a month with monetization here. So let me see. Oh, I can't paste it on there because I picked it up from my phone. Hold on a second here. I'm going to do this so you all know how you can get in here. You have to use this. HTTPS, let's see, //StreamYard.com JEQXMG6WFD. How's that for scintillating live radio? There you go. Now it should be over in the chat room. You'll be able to see that. And it looks to me like we're getting actually a pretty clear picture tonight. So that's good. That makes me feel good. That makes me happy. I don't like to use my phone for this kind of stuff because it can drain my phone, but so far so good. It's been okay. So when we were doing all the live shows from here before. So there you go. There, we are now on. We're working, and I think we're going to be able to proceed with our broadcast tonight. By the way, I want to ask, just to touch on current events and politics. Don't freak out if you don't like politics. But how many of you actually watched President Biden's press conference? Anybody see that? I didn't see the whole thing. I really had a rough time watching it. But there were a lot of things that I listened to him say that it was disturbing to see. And I don't care if you think this is the bandwagon talk about it or not. It was very disturbing to me to see the contrast between presidents. It didn't seem that Joe Biden knew much about what he was talking about. And everything he did was cue carded. And it's okay to have cue cards. You know, you can have stuff. I'll take a piece of paper like this and I'll write down some notes if I'm going to do public speaking. When I speak on the Nephilim, or I speak on reptilians, or I speak on ghosty stuff when I'm at events and I'm asked to come and speak, I usually have a slideshow that I put up behind me, PowerPoint, and I say, hey, everybody, the PowerPoint you're going to see up here, that's just for color. It's just pictures to look at while I talk. I'm going to kind of stick to the format, but I speak like I speak here on the radio. I know my material, and I speak without notes. I don't need the notes. Sometimes I'll glance up there and I go, where are we? What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about that thing right there. And I'll go back to that. And so I was very disappointed. Yeah, I have a rough time with it. Beth Kirkham, same here. Master Finn, good to see you. Had pictures of the reporters with the responses. I saw that. I also saw they had pictures of all the press corps that was there at the White House. And they were numbered as to who he was supposed to call on and who he wasn't. And he could only call on the ones that had numbered and in that order. And you do notice, now maybe this niggles at me a little bit only because I am conservative. I look at that and there wasn't a single conservative that was on the list to ask any questions. What they did not want, his handlers did not want, was Joe Biden having to field questions that had not been screened and questions that were going to be tough for him to talk about. There you go, folks. So Biden fell down the stairs. Yeah. You know, Jerry Ford fell downstairs. Remember Jerry Ford? Some of you might not be old enough, field guy. I don't think you're old enough to remember Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford, who took over after Nixon. He was Nixon's vice president. And he was an amazing athlete in his younger days. And he was a very intelligent man, but he was not very good at being president. He took over when Nixon resigned. And he had a couple of gaffes. He had things where he had a big cut on his head for a while because he banged into something and fell over. He tripped all the time. They were always making jokes. The press, the comedians were always making joke of President Jerry Ford and his physical gaffes. I haven't seen much from the press saying much about Biden's falling, although a couple of news outlets carried it. Won't anyone acknowledge Biden had 2 brain aneurysm surgeries? Delaney, I don't even know about those. So, yeah, Reagan did too. Reagan had some gas. Reagan even got shot, for Pete's sake. He got shot. And what did he say? Oh, as they're taking him into surgery after he got shot, what did he say to Nancy Reagan? He said, well, honey, I guess I forgot to duck. And then, of course, he makes his appearance on the balcony. Now, it's very interesting. I have not read it yet, but I've heard some good interviews about it. Who was it? Bill O'Reilly, whether you like him or not, newscaster guy, used to be on Fox. He was writing all his Killing So-and-so books. And one of them was Killing Reagan. And he contended by many of the people that were around Reagan that he talked to, that Reagan changed dramatically after he was shot. That they felt that was something that led to his decline a bit as he was getting Alzheimer's. They always say traumatic events do that to a person. Traumatic events, deaths in the family, deaths of loved ones. This is why I've always said to Joe Biden, I think his real decline really started to come on after the death of his son. And so, anyway, that's a totally different topic. Maybe we'll have to talk about that sometime. Hey, Elderberry, good to see you here. Delaney, if I didn't say hi, welcome. I can scroll back, but I got to do this. See the screen? I got to do that to scroll. That's where it shows up. It's right next to the camera, and I don't want to keep putting my finger in your face. So we're just going to go with it. The topic for tonight? Have you ever been gaslighted? Gaslit, I guess, which is proper. Probably gaslighted. Steph, welcome. Good to see you. She just came in screaming hello. Good to see you, Steph. Welcome to the show. Have any of you been gaslit? Does anybody here know precisely what it means when somebody says somebody else is gaslighting somebody? I've been told on times that I'm a gaslighter. Somebody told me that last week in all the talk we had with on the women's issues that came up, and somebody said I was gaslighting. I said, I don't gaslight. I think that's become another one of those terms, that just gets thrown about by people that want to demean what you're saying, and they've got to have a catchword to do it. Gaslighting. What the hell is gaslighting? Anybody here ever been gaslit? Brainwashing? It involves that a little bit. Yes. It's kind of a brainwashing thing. Let's see. Hey, Barbie D. Good to see you. Here, let's take a look. I've got some stuff up here to talk about gaslighting a bit. Where's my mouse not working? There we go. I don't think it is. There we go. Something's not moving here. And I'm not sure why. Let's see. So, gaslighting, it's that thing that people do to other people. It's really a narcissistic tendency. And I wanted to kind of go through what gaslighting is. I want to go through there's 11 warning signs for gaslighting to know whether or not you've been gaslighted or if you are yourself gaslighting. So I want to look at this kind of this gaslighting for dummies. Let's talk about that. And the only reason I bring this up is because it's used as such a political football nowadays. If you have an argument on something you're talking about, suddenly somebody's going to come along and say you're trying to gaslight them. Let's see. Delaney says, my farts as a kid, I did some gaslighting. Yeah, we used to do that. We did that in an ad agency once where I worked as the creative director. We were all working late hours that week trying to get a client project done, a campaign done. And we were getting punchy one night. And we all laid on the conference room table and were lighting what we called back then screaming blue dolphins. I may have mentioned that here once before. And the screaming blue dolphin moniker came from the shape that the emitted gas would do when it hit the lighter. Whoop, it would dive like a dolphin. So we called them screaming blue dolphins. So there's a new name for you for gaslighting your flatulence. Anyway, gaslighting itself. If you gaslight, I gaslight. You gaslight. He, she gaslights. What can it mean? What does it mean? Isn't gaslight some sort of it's a compound noun rather than a verb? How can you gaslight somebody with a noun? It's a person, place, or thing. It's a gaslight. But it turns out that gaslighting is indeed a verb, and it's one with a very interesting history. And it's a troublesome relevance to the present, by the way. And so, in the way this all started. Now, some of you may or may not have seen this old movie. I'm an aficionado, a maven of old movies. I love the old big screen black and white movies. And in 1938, British playwright Patrick Hamilton's work, Gaslight, was produced in London, and it ran for 6 months. When it was adapted into a 1940 movie titled Gaslight, it was directed by Thora Dickinson, and it starred Alton Walbrook and Diana Wynnard. And 4 years later, it debuted as an MGM film featuring Charles Boyer and Ingrid Bergman. You may remember Ingrid Bergman as Ilsa from Casablanca and many other films that she did. And so it was a budget that was an order of a magnitude larger and a comparably less fidelity to the original play. And as part of the contract, MGM insisted on destroying all pre-existing copies of the 1940 film. And they were successful at doing that, unfortunately, for the sake of film history. But what is gaslighting, and what does it have to do with the year 2021? Why is it a relevant term today? In the story that was made into the movie, a wealthy, psychologically delicate woman who was Bella Mellon was her name, has married a suave, debonair, controlling, and decidedly creepy continental European. And Paul Mellon is his name, the character's name. And they purchased a multi-story London apartment where decades before a rich old lady had been murdered. And the place was ransacked. She was known to have some extremely valuable rubies. No one had been willing to live in the apartment until its current occupants. And so soon it was apparent that Bella is having a hard time. She repeatedly misplaces items. She's blamed by her husband for taking things when she claims innocence. Seems to imagine events that aren't real and increasingly comes to doubt her own sanity. Hey, mechanics, good to see you. So many live streams, so little time. It's good to see you here. I don't know how many are going on right now, but this one's mine. And if you're a member here, by the way, hit the join button down below if you want to be a member here, and you can join and become a member of this stream. And you can see 3 ways to become a member. You hit the join button. So now it becomes clear through the story that she isn't really crazy after all, but she's being craftily manipulated by the nefarious Paul Mellon, her husband, who wants to have her committed because she accidentally encountered evidence that, unknown to her, could be used against him. And the story is set in 1880 London. In those Victorian times, a husband could have his wife committed simply on his say-so. And Me Too didn't exist back then, the Me Too movement. So a husband could say, my wife's crazy, I want her committed, and guess what? She's hauled off without any kind of due process. So now her husband regularly prowls about the attic, searching, we discover, for those rubies which he, the murderer, hadn't been able to find when he committed the crime years earlier. And as he searches, he turns on the attic gaslights, explaining the movie's title, which causes the lights in the rest of the house to dim and to flicker. And after all, this is 1880, before electricity. Poor, belabored Bella notices this, but others, including her well-meaning maidservant, attribute it to yet another flight of her overstressed mind. And so eventually, all is set right, or set to rights, you could say, thanks to the intervention of a retired Scotland Yard detective who, among other things, confirms the reality of Bella's perception and the guilt of homicidal, perfidious Paul, her husband. And the film's major contribution to the popular culture, as well to the psychological literature, has been to introduce the verb gaslight, meaning to induce someone to question their sanity and grasp of reality by malevolently manipulating his or her perceptions. So it's a manipulation tactic. Now, in the film, especially the 1940 original, which despite its overacting and comparatively poor production values, is far superior to the 1944 remake. Paul Mellon is frightening in his malignance, narcissism, lack of empathy, and his overall creepiness in that film. But he isn't one half as scary or creepy as the current occupant of the White House. Did I slip that in there? Now, I'll make the optimistic assumption that most of you are sufficiently well informed that they don't need a recitation of the continuing slurry of deceptions, misrepresentations, and outright lies that have emanated from the White House these days. And it continues to disfigure the current executive chief and executive in chief, and his administration. Moreover, when caught in these lies by the press, by people that are observing, there is no response. There is no answer. They double down on the lies. And they double down on their righteous position. Now, I've just used a very political argument. You may not all agree with the political argument, but Steve Clark says, I love being crazy. People, leave me alone. So you start making the comparisons to real life, and you can see where we're being gaslighted by the current sitting administration. Just look at the one issue we talked about last night. If you could hear last night's show, you look at the issue of the crisis at the border. There is a crisis at the border, but the Biden administration keeps telling us there's no crisis at the border. This is a form of gaslighting, probably in its truest form. And so I cannot tell a lie, says the Biden administration in general. And this is where the biggest lie is at all. Now, I'm not trying to make a statement on Biden or the administration. I'm just using it as an example. So you can look at these things and you can start to see ways that gaslighting becomes something that we see every day. We're seeing it in politics. We see it in religion. We see it with the people, sometimes sad to say, the people we live with. I doubt that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, unlike the fictional Mr. Malin in the movie, in the play Gaslight, is actually consciously gaslighting the country in the sense of deliberately trying to drive us insane, which is what gaslighting means. He may actually believe his prevarications, and at least in some cases, but the effect of his behavior is more important than his intention. The effect of the behavior of his administration and those that have to continue to cover for him. The active actions of Vice President Harris. These will all tell you that at least in some cases, there are lies being told and people pushing to make those lies something that we believe over the obvious truth. We're being gaslighted. So now many veteran journalists, seasoned political observers have noted the extent to which the obvious lies, the self-serving, dishonest claims, all of that, as well as the unending barrage of positions taken only to be disavowed immediately afterward, have been only confusing, not only confusing, but downright disorienting. So much so, in fact, that the victims are at risk of becoming as unstable as the perpetrator. This is a problem. So, back in a couple of years ago, New York Times Charles Blow put it with characteristically accurate acerbity. He said it this way. People used to dealing with a sane, logical person who generally doesn't lie and generally makes sense are left scratching their heads, wondering whether to believe what they've heard, whether to make plans and policies around it. Believing anything that's said is a recipe for a headache and a heartache. The old rules no longer apply. We see the world as through a window, as it is, even if we're a bit removed from the whole of it. But it's actually, from the administration's point of view, a house of mirrors. Everything reflecting some distorted version. The realities always seem to return to a kind of delusional narcissism. And so while you cannot call, I don't think I would call Joe Biden a narcissist. I don't think he is, and I don't mean this in an insulting way. I just don't think he is responsible for what he's saying and what he's doing. Which has made me wonder, let me ask this question as long as I'm on that. Do you think Joe Biden has maybe agreed to this ahead of time? This was the compact put in place between Biden and his handlers and the Democratic Party and whoever's in power, whoever's running things behind the scenes. Do you think that this is something he agreed to? I will just do what I'm told to do. Sure, I'll run. I'll get in as president, but who guaranteed him? Link. Scotty says, Doug. Oh, you want the link? You want to join in? You're going to have to scroll back and get it because let's see if I can even find it anymore. Let's see. I put it up here somewhere. Hang on. Let me find it. It's up here somewhere. I'll do this for you, Doug. I'll find the link and I'll repost it. Here it is. I'm going to copy it right now. Well, it canceled it. Hold on a second. Do that again. Well, son of a... I just clicked on it accidentally. That's what I get for trying to do this while I'm on radio. Here, let's copy this. Boom. Here's the link. If you'd like to join in on this show, you can. Oh, I've got a guest waiting already. Hold on. You get to see my fingers up close. Who's there? There's Field Guy. Field Guy, I'll bring you in for a minute here. How about that? Let's see. Add to stream. Let's see what we got going here. I got to remember, I've got so much. Hang on. I'm trying to make the layout work better. Right there. There it is. Done. Boom. Field Guy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I've
right.
been lurking.
I'm hoping I'm not going to get feedback because I don't have a headset on. I can't get my headset to work on my phone tonight. So,
I think you would, but
so what do you got to say tonight? What do you got to say about Biden? What do you think about this whole situation?
well, probably, obviously Biden's got something going on because I seen something where he's got cue cards and he can't even remember the reporters' names. They go to ask questions and they say you can't answer that question. It's like,
Right.
And then you got the press secretary, Mary Jane, as I call her, who can't even answer any questions. She'll go, I'll get back to you on that. Like, when?
Yep. There's a lot of that going on.
She ain't answered any questions from Obama yet.
I know. So, I tend to think that Joe Biden was put in office, and I think the evidence will really start to point to this, that he was put there by those that got him elected. By any, I have a hard time believing that Joe Biden won the election, although it can't be proven. It's proven in several different ways, but nobody wants to accept that answer. So he's there. We're beyond that now. But now that he's in office, I think he probably made a deal and said, you know what? I'll do what you tell me to do. His handlers manipulate and use him. And I don't think Joe Biden is really there for the full ride. I think he's just When he today in his, or I'm sorry, yesterday in his, what do you think of this? In his a press conference, somebody asked him with all smiles, "So, will you be running for re-election?" He said, "Yeah, of course. So I'm going to run for re-election in 2024." What do you think of that? What's your immediate response to that?
I don't even think he'll be alive in 2024. Who knows? Nobody
I
knows
certainly wonder.
unless they plan to clone him and become a robot or something.
Right.
His,
Yeah.
his faculties are going now. How are they going to last 4 years?
Well, that's it. Is he going to last 4 years? I don't know.
Nah, we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be President Kamala.
Yep.
It's going to
gonna
happen.
come.
Sooner or later, it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't, but that's
All right.
probably the real deal they had backstage. They probably said, okay, you do it for a year or two. He's probably the figurehead for about a year or two. And then after 2022 elections, out he goes, and then in come Kamala.
Yep.
I
think you're right. I think they're going to try to keep him going as long as they can. But I'll bet you they already have a plan for him.
They probably thought about this when the first day Trump got elected. They probably thought of it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They do those deals.
Yes, they do. Well, if anybody else would like to join us, I put a link in that you can do just what Field Guy is doing right now, and you can come in and join us on the show. Field Guy, I'm going to put you back out. Everybody's going to see my hand because I'm on my phone. So I'm sorry, guys, but here we go. I'm going to put you back out. And,
okay, I'll jump off.
All right, I'll see you later. Thanks for being on. All right, guys. So since I don't have an engineer that does this for me, I'm doing it for myself, and it's all on my phone, right now. So I'm glad you're here watching this and putting up with it. It's either this or we can go back to the bouncy, bumpy stream, which is a pain in the ass, if you ask me. And I think I'm up to date here on the Matt Finn, last one that posted on the chat room. I do believe I'm in the right place. Matt says, now it's scrolled up, of course. Yes, it will be the continued destruction of the middle class and the small business owners at corporate America, and continues to exploit the world economies and government spending. I think you're right. Let's see. I'm going to go back into what we were talking here about gaslighting. At the end of Gaslight, the movie, Paul Malin, the husband, gets his comeuppance. And I'm not alone in hoping that the current White House occupant probably gets, I hate to say that because I don't think it's Joe Biden. That's why I got up on the rabbit trail. But be warned, when this happens in the movie, the cinematic sinner goes more than a bit crazy himself. He decompensating, as psychiatrists would put it. But the malignant Mr. Mellon didn't have nuclear weapons at his disposal. And so you see gaslighting, lying, and covering up the lies, denying the lies and telling more prevarications to make sure the lies stick, and trying to lead you to believe something that is not so. So I want to look at 11 warning signs of gaslighting in our last 20 minutes here. Gaslighting is a manipulation technique, and it's used to gain power, and it works very well. And so I want you to see how this works. It's a tactic, gaslighting, in which a person, an entity, in order to gain more power, makes a victim question their reality. It works much better than you might think. Anyone is susceptible to gaslighting. And it's a common technique of abusers, dictators, narcissists, and cult leaders. And it's done slowly, so the victim doesn't realize how much they've been brainwashed. For example, as we mentioned in the movie Gaslight, man manipulates his wife to the point where she thinks she's losing her own mind. And there's ways you can recognize manipulative and emotionally abusive people and break free of it. And I'm going to look at how gaslighters typically use their techniques. And there's 11 different things about gaslighting that will help you recognize what a gaslighting person does. It's more than lighting the pilot, mechanics, which we had some problems with our own oven in here in the camper. So we have some good experience on that. So Steve Clark says, I cannot find the link. Oh, okay. Something totally different, something going on in the chat room. So number one thing to recognize a gaslighter, they tell lies. They tell blatant lies. You know, it's an outright lie, yet they're telling you this lie with a straight face. Why are they so blatant about it? Because they're setting up a precedent. Once they tell you a huge lie, you're not sure if anything they say is true. And it keeps you unsteady. And it keeps you off kilter. And that's the goal of a gaslighter. So the first thing they do, the first thing to recognize is they are blatant liars. And they know that you know they're a liar. And they keep doing it. Do you know people like that? You know people who constantly lie about things? I know somebody I've done work with in business. Good person, but constantly lying. Not lying like, I don't know. The way I think of it is, it isn't lies like you think. It's deceits. It's cover-ups. It's gray areas. And this person is constantly saying one thing is one way when it's actually the other way. And you catch them in it, and they go, "No, I didn't say that." That's gaslighting. They lie to cover their tracks. They lie to make sure they look better. They may lie because they have their own idiosyncrasies, their own problems with who they are and what they are. There may be their own baggage in the past causes them to lie to make themselves look better or to do better for themselves. So it must be the same person I'm thinking of, Scotty. I don't know if that's that person. I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't think that's who I was talking about. I'm trying to renew my re-up my YouTube. See, if we were on my computer right now, we'd be up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down all night. I can't even reconnect back to the YouTube to watch the chat room. So I'm seeing it on my phone. I only see a couple of them at a time. Otherwise, you see my finger come up in your face in order to scroll back up. The scammers baiting people on YouTube dealt with gaslighters all the time. They lie to form a new reality. That's it. And yes, they do, Steph. They sure do. James says it's better to be honest and let people be disappointed in the truth than to lie and have nobody ever believe anything you say. That's it. Now, you know what my wife has said to me? Have you ever lied to your spouse? I have. As much as I love my wife, I've lied to her about a couple of things. And it's usually non-things. It's like, did you have a cigarette today? And I'm like, no. Dumbest thing I could ever say to my wife. Because she's like, you can't lie to your wife. That's her line. You can't lie to me. And she knows I can't lie to her. And I don't like lying. Now, I've lied on, when it comes to my taxes. Have I lied there? Sure. It's like, am I going to claim that money that somebody paid me under the table for that thing I sold? Nah, I'm not going to claim that. I'm not going to pay tax on that income. So we've all done that to a degree. Now, does that make me a dishonest person and somebody that ought not to have your favor at all because I'm dishonest about my taxes every now and then? Now, I'm not like gaping dishonesty. It's little tiny gray areas. So if a person lies, then they have to remember that and who they said it to. Exactly, Steve. And so let's look at another warning sign. What's another warning sign? They blatantly lie. Gaslighters. Number two, they deny they ever said something, even though you have the proof. I've said to this one person that I'm referring to, I've said to him, now you said this, and I wrote it down when you said it. Only thing I didn't have it was to have it recorded. And I said, that's not what I said. And I said, well, whatever. And we move on from there. But you know they said they would do something. You know you heard it, but they out and out deny it. And it makes you start questioning your reality. Well, maybe they never did say that thing. And the more they do this, the more you question your reality and start accepting theirs. Now, that's in extreme cases. I've never really questioned my reality over somebody lying to me or repeating to lie to me. I generally see bullshit where there's bullshit, and I call bullshit. I call bullshit. Oh, bullshit. And so I'm more that way. I tend to be more confrontational. So I don't like to accept the lies. But you know, we can all get caught in those traps. Traps in relationships, traps with our kids, traps in everything that we do, where we can, mostly when it affects you on an emotional basis, the lies and the gaslighting are, I was going to use the word easier. I don't think easier is the word. We are more susceptible to those things within relationships because we're trying to please the other person. We want to love the other person. We think the other person loves us, and maybe they do, but they lie. And they use us, and they manipulate us to get what they want. And many times this is a narcissistic tendency, almost on a psychopathic level, because it's people will do this within relationships. And they want to be in that relationship, but then you have to ask why, and so on. And it goes into all the stuff we used to talk about narcissism. Number 3 on this list, they use what is near and dear to you as their ammunition. They know how important your kids are to you. They know how important your identity is to you. So those might be one of the first things that they attack. And if you have kids, they tell you that you should not have had those children. You shouldn't have had those children. They'll tell you you'd be a worthy person if only you didn't have a long list of negative traits. They attack the very foundation of your being, of who you are. Now, I can think of lots of examples of those. So all of you, you can start thinking, some of you I know in here have been in these relationships where you've got somebody who does this kind of thing to you. It doesn't make me question my reality, says James. It informs me everything they tell me. I won't believe until confirmed by the source I can trust. And so, James, that's a thing. But there are some people who have a tough time with that, especially people who are close to them. Oh, I see 2 people are telling me Doug is in StreamYard. I see it's set up differently here on my phone. So on my computer, the little frames pop up and you can see their video grayed out and they're moving and everything. Here it's just a little light comes on. Let me hit this. Let's get Doug in here. Boom. Add to stream. There we go. Doug, you're in the stream with me. How you doing, brother?
Good.
Are you there?
Can you
Hey,
hear
I'm
me?
good. I hear you. What's
All
going
right.
on?
Oh, nothing. You know, sitting by the fire.
Yeah. Sitting by the
Hey,
fire.
it's going
Or
on
I'm
now.
sorry, as you just said, sitting by the fire.
Bar.
Flaw. The flaw. Hey, Amanda
Bar.
B, welcome to the chat. Good to see you.
Uh,
So what's going on? What do you got on your mind, Doug?
okay. Did you? There's 2 points in that whole press conference that got me
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah.
Okay. The first one was that lady asking about that kid who came up from Honduras,
Oh, yeah.
and he said no administration has ever let kids starve on the other side except for the Trump administration. Dude,
Oh, yeah.
that drove me nuts right there.
Yeah.
And then the next one was I forget the guy's name. He asked the question about the gun control and the Atlanta shooting and the Colorado shooting. and he goes on a 5-minute tirade about infrastructure. He didn't
boy.
even touch the he didn't even touch the gun control.
Nope.
So there's no way he is capable of doing it. And I've said it from the beginning. I think, on day 100, Nancy Pelosi is going to bring up the articles, the 25th Amendment.
Sure.
And on day 101, they're going to have enough votes, or they're going to have 50 votes to get them out. And Kamala will be the tiebreaker, and she'll be president.
Yep.
So
Should she be recused from being allowed to vote on that because it puts her in the office?
She should be, but then we got to look at it. You got Murkowski, you got Susan Collins, and Mitt Romney. Those three, they can go either way.
Yep.
And I don't see it. I think by day 101 we're gonna have Kamala Harris in there, and there's no way. I mean, Phil Goss said, yeah, he might be dead in 4 years.
Hold on one second. See you, Steph.
Okay.
Sorry you're having a bad night. We'll see you later. I hope everything goes well for you.
Sorry.
All right, Doug, go ahead.
No, but what I'm saying is, there's no way. Phil Guy had said that, he's going to die, or he may be dead in 3 years or 4 years or whatever. It's not even going to get to that, because he's not even going to get out of the. I think they're going to give him his first 100 days.
All right.
And after that, it's done.
Yeah, I think something's going to happen, or at least up until the 2022 elections. Hey, let me ask a technical question in the chat room. James said that everything was sounding fine until I put in my headset. I put in my headset because the speaker plays on the phone, and the mic on the phone picks it up, and you could get feedback. So is the sound all right for everybody, or is it better without the headset in? Maybe the headset did something. All it did was stop Doug, his voice coming in from being played back onto the microphone.
Yeah, I was having that problem last night.
Yeah. And don't forget Pelosi. Remember Nancy Pelosi? If both the president and the vice president are gone, guess who gets to be president? Nancy Pelosi in this case.
But get this.
So,
is it possible? You know that that the Speaker of the House doesn't have to be a member of Congress, right?
Right.
So if in 2022, if the Republicans take it and they install Trump as Speaker of the House, and then they impeach Pelosi, Trump could be the president from 2022 and then run again.
You think that's a long shot? That sounds like a long shot scenario to me.
Look,
that Trump would be appointed as Speaker of the House. That'd be interesting. Wouldn't that be an interesting bit of political theater?
That would be hell on earth. I mean, I have a hard time believing that Trump is going to run in 2024, even though I wouldn't mind seeing it, but he will be 78 years old. Yeah. So.
And I think that age can start to catch up to people in that office. Trump seems to be very healthy, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Honestly, he did not age as fast as the previous at least 4.
He looked the same, almost the same the day he left office and the day he got in.
Exactly.
So, well, I'm going to move on with this stuff on narcissism, or on gaslighting, Doug. We got about 6 minutes left. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for your input. I think that's pretty damn cool. All right, brother.
Bye.
I'm gonna click you off right now. Remove. There you go. All right, Doug is gone, and I have to put my finger in your faces to do it, folks, because of the way I'm set up. So remember, those of you coming in late, we're broadcasting from my phone tonight, and that's the only way I seem to be able to get a stronger signal. So we've been through the first 3 things about warning signs of gaslighting. They tell you lies, blatant lies. They deny ever having said something, even though you have proof. They use what's near and dear to you as their ammunition. And number 4 is they wear you down over time. And this is one of the insidious things about gaslighting. It's done gradually over time. A lie here, a lie there, a snide comment every so often, and then it starts ramping up. Even the brightest, most self-aware people can be sucked into gaslighting. It's that effective. And it's the frog in the frying pan analogy. The heat's turned up so slowly, the frog never realizes what's happening to it till it's cooked. Then it has nothing to realize anymore at that point. So, number 5, their actions don't match their words. When dealing with a person or an entity that gaslights, look at what they're doing rather than what they're saying to you. What they're saying means absolutely nothing. It's just talk. What they're doing is the issue. Pardon my dry throat. I would usually have something to drink here, and I don't right now. So 6, they throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. This person or this entity that's cutting you down, telling you that you don't have value, is now praising you for something that you did. This adds up to additional sense of uneasiness. You think, well, maybe they aren't so bad. Yeah, they are. This is a calculated attempt to keep you off kilter. And again, to question your reality. Excuse me. Also look at what you were praised for. It's probably something that served the person doing the gaslighting. Number 7, they know confusion weakens people. Gaslighters know that people like having a sense of stability and normalcy. And the gaslighter's goal is to uproot this and to make you constantly question everything. All humans' humans' natural tendency is to look to the person or the entity that will help you feel more stable. And that happens to be the gaslighter. They know how the confusion weakens you. Number 8, the gaslighter projects. They're doing a drug. They're a drug user. They're a cheater. Yet they're constantly accusing you of those things. Oh, you're drinking a little too much. I think you might be an alcoholic, while they might be themselves. Or they're constantly questioning you, mistrusting you. You're out sleeping around, aren't you? What were you doing out the other night when I wasn't here? And they're constantly accusatory. You know why? It's because they're probably doing it themselves. That's gaslighting. And this is done so often that you start trying to defend yourself. You're distracted from the gaslighter's own behavior. And of course, what would be a proper response to that? You don't give in to the accusations. Mine would be, hey, if you're going to keep accusing me of that, maybe I'll just go do it. How about that? Should I go do that? If you're going to keep accusing me and not listen to what I have to say or trust my word, you know what? There's the door. See ya. That's the way I am. Maybe that's the way you are, but that's not the way the majority of people are when it comes to these things. That's why gaslighting works so badly. James says, Johnny's Pizza puts crawfish meat as a pizza topping on their menu. How do they get the crawfish meat out? That would be a tedious job, I think. Let's see. They sell it here too, James says. Doug, check out Ruba Boots on FB. I think that's his name. They're doing boiled crawfish out of Bossier City. Well, cool. Crawfish. All right. So they project. We talked about it. Number 9, a gaslighter. They try to align people against you. Gaslighters are masters at manipulating and finding the people they know will stand by them no matter what. And they use these people against you. They'll make comments such as, this person knows that you're not right in the head. They know what you're like. Or this person knows that you're useless too. And keep in mind, it does not mean that these people actually said these things. A gaslighter is a constant liar. When the gaslighter uses this tactic, it makes you feel like you don't know who to trust or who to turn to. And that leads you right back to the gaslighter. That's exactly what they want. They want to isolate you and then control you. That's what a gaslighter does. Amanda B says, Scotty, if I find these men, it's a reflection of my own bipolar attitude. Oh, God, that's it. LOL, like a high school debate every day. Yeah, we've been there. Some of us have been there before. I get that. Now, number 10, gaslighters will tell you or others that you're crazy. You're the crazy one. This is one of the most effective tools of the gaslighter because it's dismissive. The gaslighter knows if they question your sanity, people will not believe you when you try to tell them the gaslighter is an abusive asshole or out of control. It's a master technique. You're the crazy. You're the one who's got problems. And then number 11 on this list of 11 things, they tell you everyone else is a liar. They tell you everyone else is the liar. Yep, it's a cycle of hell, Amanda. You're absolutely right. And Doug's response to this, Rubaboot Crawfish Company is the name. Oh, okay. Matt Finn says this pretty much sums up the entire federal government and their propagandists in the media and the entertainment industry. Damn spot on, Master Finn. So number 11, they tell you everyone else is a liar by telling you that everyone else, your family, the media, whoever is a liar. It again makes you question your reality. You've never known someone with, and now by questioning your reality, I don't mean you're out there and you're going literally nuts and you don't know what's real. Is this bottle of sriracha sauce? Is this real? That's not what I mean. It means you're starting to question everything you believe. Some people this happens to. This is what the gaslighter will do in gradually bringing somebody down. And you've never known someone with the audacity to do this. So they must be telling the truth, right? Right? No, it's a manipulation technique. It makes people turn to the gaslighter for correct information, which isn't correct information at all. And so the more you're aware of these kind of techniques, the quicker you can identify them and avoid falling into the gaslighter's trap. And I actually have a little bit more here on why gaslighters accuse you of gaslighting. They accuse you of their own behavior. That's the classic gaslighter tactic. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit next week. Maybe we'll just drop the topic at this time. I want to get into some more fun stuff. Well, I enjoy this. I'm not saying these shows aren't fun. I love talking about psychology and the things that drive us. I also like talking about history. I like talking about ghosty things and things like that. We might get into a topic next week and do this. But until then, this is it for tonight's show. We're going to be back on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And I may just get Rainey live. If she doesn't have most of her massages at the hotel, they take place on Saturdays and Sundays. That's when people go stay for the weekend at the hotels. And sometimes she doesn't even get a call till almost the last minute. Hey, can you be in an hour? There's a couple. It's like tomorrow, I think it is. She has, or no, it was today, I think she had a couple, one after the other. She's got her partner in her business, but her partner is not available as much lately. She's doing all kinds of other stuff as well. So Rainey, instead of doing side-by-sides with couples in their hotel room, Rainey's doing one after the other. And so she'll get 2 massages out of it. She might have more for tomorrow. But that's what she does. And if she's got something going on Sunday morning, she might not be available. But we'll grab her when we can. And so there you go, folks. There's tonight's show. I appreciate the fact that you would be here, that you would give me your time, especially after the rough week we've had with the internet. I think I'm just going to have – I almost today, when I was trying to get on the internet, just to set up the show for tonight, I was having problems with connectivity. And I was pretty much saying, you know what? I'm about ready to throw in the towel on this. I think I'm just going to tell everybody we're going off the air. We won't do anything else until we get a little better studio setup, until we get better internet. And it's almost impossible to get right now. But as you see, I do have it through my phone. So that was kind of the last ditch. I went, hey, I'll just go on the phone tonight and see if it all works on there. And sure enough, it worked all right. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for putting up with some of the tech issues this week. I love the fact that you would give me your time and spend it with me, especially on a Friday night. So we'll see you again on Sunday at 9 a.m. sharp Central Standard Time. That's just the opposite 12-hour end of the clock. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. West Coast time, which I think that makes that about, I don't know what time in Australia. Amanda B., what time is it in Australia right now? If you're still there. Cheers, mate, she says. She might already be gone. We ain't all techie, but we're surviving the apocalypse. That's true, James. So, well, there it is. Guys, you have a good night. I'm going to go have a good night. And I'll see you all on Sunday. So let me see if I can end this stream. I'm going to put my finger in your faces collectively. Oh, it's 1:09 p.m. there. So it would be 1:09 a.m. for you on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. So if you're still up and around in Australia, come on over on Sunday. That's it, guys. Yeah, it's already 1 p.m. in Australia. It's 9 p.m. here. So you're 14 hours ahead of us in Australia. So, well, wait. It's 10 o'clock now. So you're 13 hours ahead of us. Daylight savings time. Anyway, there we go. And so, folks, I just want to say thanks for being here. And you know what? Live long and prosper. Good night.